In today's video, I'm going to be talking about a social media strategy that is guaranteed to make your business successful. Coming up. In my opinion, this is the best time ever if you want to be an entrepreneur. The reason why I say that is because there are so many tools now that we can use to reach as many people as we can. Now, before I continue, let's take a look here at my diagram that I put together. So any business, of course, you have to be either selling a product or a service, and this is what we have here. And that product or service needs to be known by a lot of people. So that means you have to do whatever you can to get a lot of people to know your product or your service. And here are the mediums that did a fantastic job. And let's start talking about the television here. So the television here did a very good job because visually you could see what that product did, or even people talk about that product, and therefore it was very, very effective. Over here we have the radio. Over here we have the radio. So the radio also did a similar job. So anyone that had a radio, or even in their cars or at home, they could hear a message about a product that has just been released, or a product that is really, really effective out there. And then finally over here we have the newspaper. Now, similar to the other two mediums here, again, entrepreneurs or business owners could go into the newspaper and add their ad into the newspaper. So again, this was very, very powerful because a lot of people consumed all these mediums, and this was the best way to get your message out there. So when it comes to the television, just to have your ad on television costed a lot of money because you needed to have a script, copywriting, the crew, the filmmakers, and the talent itself. So that budget was crazy. It was very, very high. So therefore, not a lot of people could actually have their ads on television, which meant that there's very few companies that took advantage of that, and those are the companies that really made a lot of money. Now, similar thing to the radio, but not as expensive as the TV ad. Again, it needed quite a bit of a budget for you to have your message on the radio, and of course on the newspaper as well. Now, fast forward to the age of the internet. Now, this is where we have all these tools that I alluded to in the beginning of this presentation. So over here we have YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Now, these three here are mainly to do with video. So here I'm talking about Facebook video or Facebook Live, and Instagram video or Instagram Live. So these three here pretty much equate to the television here, because what it is people just watching screens. So as many people as you can to watch the screen is pretty much having the same effect as it is here on the television. Now let's move on to the next one here, and this is the radio. So the radio, in my opinion, has been I wouldn't say replaced, but the similar modern medium that we have right now is the podcast. So as you can see, the podcast here is even more powerful because you can choose what you want to listen to. Unlike the radio, you just have to go with what the DJ says. And of course, it's similar to what we have here on television. So if you are subscribed to, let's say, the BBC, you just have to watch their programming. And if they put ads on there, pretty much you have no control. You just have to watch those ads. So moving on here to the newspaper. So in my opinion, the medium that has the same effect as the newspaper is the blogs. So again, you can subscribe to the specific blogs that you like, therefore cutting out any other stuff that you don't need. So in the age of the internet, you can see that these tools here are so powerful, yet they're not as expensive as it used to be back in the day here. And this is the best way to put our message out there online. Now, I talk to a lot of people, and I recommend people to set up their own YouTube channels or blogs or even a podcast, but they seem to want to shy away from that, but not realizing that this is the best way to get people to consume your content, and therefore promoting your products or services within that content. So similar to what the television did here, you do need to have some sort of a show or regular episodes where you produce tutorials or videos, whatever it is, and in that is where you'd promote your product or your service, similar to what the TV had. So over here, you'd have your favorite show, whatever it is, and within the show, you'd have ads that come in between that, promoting the product or service. Now, even better here with YouTube, you don't have to promote a product or service that does not relate to the product or the program that you're watching. So here on the TV, you could be watching boxing, for example, and then you have an ad for, let's say, a car. And those two don't really work together. So here on YouTube, it's much, much better because if you have a boxing channel, perhaps you can start promoting boxing gloves or, mats or exercises and so on. So this becomes even more relevant. And this is why social media marketing is very, very powerful. And if you haven't started, I would like to say to you, this is your chance. Start now, slowly, grow your audience, and this is how you're going to be able to sell as many products as you can to your audience. And even better, the audience that you're going to accumulate here is the audience that really likes or are interested in what you do. So you're not going to have people that tune into a web design YouTube channel and they're interested in cars. So this is where you get to have a specific niche which you can serve by producing a lot of content. Now, the content you're producing here does not necessarily have to be tutorials, although tutorials work very, very well. So it can be vlogs, you can talk about your life, you can talk about all sorts of things. The idea here is to get people to like, trust, and then eventually buy products from you. So people buy from people. So before you can start selling your product, people need to know who they're buying it from. And the best way to do that is to show your personality on video. Now, I know I'm spending a lot of time here on video, and that's mainly because video is the most powerful. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now imagine what video does. So video is way more effective. Even here on the podcast, some people, when it comes to creating content, they find it very difficult to create videos. Even myself, when I started off, it took me a very long time for me to be comfortable on video. And that's really, really, really difficult. But for those of you that still insist that video is a no-go area, I would recommend that at least create a podcast. Now, when it comes to a podcast here, all you need is a microphone and a computer or even your phone, and you can record your audio that way. Now, you never know. You could be someone that is very, very interesting, someone that is very good at storytelling. And by doing that, this is what's going to enable you to build your audience. Now, over here on the blogs, let's say you really don't want to create videos or even record your audio here, at least have a blog. So this blog is for those of you who are very, very, very good at writing. So if you're good at writing, this is your opportunity to create a blog. Now, setting up a blog is very, very easy. All you have to do is to find a hosting company and then set it up on WordPress, and WordPress is free. So really, there's no excuse for not creating content. Now, heading back over here to video. The reason why video is more effective, in fact, let's talk about the stats. I think it was a few months ago, I heard that in 2021, 90% of the traffic online is going to be video. And this is why video is very, very, very powerful. Now, I want to focus here on YouTube for a little bit. When it comes to creating content that is easy to search online, YouTube here is also very effective because YouTube is the second largest search engine. So having all your products, all your shows or your videos here on YouTube is almost guaranteed to be successful, because when people search on Google, the search results now also have YouTube in them. In fact, I was taking a look at my stats last week, and I noticed that my YouTube channel, most of the people actually come to watch my videos from Google search, and I was actually shocked. So this is emphasizing the point that YouTube is very powerful as a search engine as well, and as a standalone search engine, because if you go onto YouTube, you can actually search for specific videos, specific tutorials, and so on, and get your results from there. So this is why YouTube is very powerful, and I think this is the best marketing platform out there. Now, having said that, it doesn't mean that it doesn't work on Facebook, because it's all about trying to put your message where the audience is. So here on Facebook, Facebook has a massive advantage because you have Facebook groups. So you can have specific groups where you can zone in and really talk about your products or your services in those specific groups. So this is where it becomes really powerful. Instagram as well. In fact, all these platforms, they allow you to generate an audience. So this is where you want to concentrate on. Now, over here on the podcast, again, as I mentioned before, podcasts are really, really powerful. In fact, they are growing in popularity because a lot of people now are buying mobile phones. And these mobile phones, especially iPads, iPhones, they come with the podcast app on it, which means you can subscribe to your specific podcast and listen to your podcast on the go. And this, as a marketer, is where you'd add your call to actions and direct your traffic from the podcast to your blog or your products. Now, here comes the strategy. Every time you're going to be creating your content over here, you need to make sure you have a website. The website is where you want to have your opt-in forms and grow your mailing list, because these platforms, of course, they don't belong to you, especially YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. They don't belong to you. If something happens here, you get banned, or something happens, pretty much you're shut off and your business is in trouble. But if you're growing a social media audience here, you also need to grow your mailing list. And this is something that you own yourself, because this is how you can communicate with your audience. So here you need to be creating content and direct people onto your website, where there you capture their name and email address so that you grow your mailing list. Same applies here on Facebook. You have to be creative enough to come up with something that leads people to go to your website so that you grow your mailing list. Even here on the podcast, same thing. One strategy you could use here is to have a podcast where you also have a giveaway, and the giveaway is on your website. So when they listen to your podcast, eventually they have to go to your website to sign up for that giveaway. So that's the strategy that I would have. And over here on the blog, this is very straightforward. On your blog itself, you need to make sure you're capturing emails so that you grow your mailing list. So this is a powerful strategy. You really have to create content if you want to really make money online, or even grow your business. Because if you're going to rely on Facebook ads or YouTube ads, of course, it's okay, but not a lot of people are going to have thousands and thousands of dollars to have Facebook ads or YouTube for YouTube ads. It's a bit of a budget. So if you want to start the organic way, the authentic way, this is the best way you would do it. So I would come over here, create content on any of these platforms, and then promote my products within that content that I'm creating. This is the strategy. Let me know what you guys think. What strategy are you using to grow your business? Let me know in the comments box below. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification. By doing so, you'll be notified every time I release new tutorials. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.